Good morning. This is day 57 of little videos to describe a day in the life of schizophrenic Dominic, me, and schizophrenia is a reality to be experienced. And I do make these videos to express some sanity as the world has turned their insanity around on me and told everyone I am crazy. And you can go to my pinned post on my Facebook page or my pinned post on my Threads account to get day 17 and day 45 of these videos. Day 17 describes why I choose to use the terminology of schizophrenic rather than targeted individual. And day 45 has a 3.5 minute opening to describe the little introduction into why I make these videos. And, okay. It's basically just to express some amount of sanity, a day in the life of me as a schizophrenic, and to work out some thoughts and get camera presence as a life skill. Okay, so in these little videos I discuss little thoughts that I have after reading out of a lot of different kind of books, a little bit of pages at a time. I read very slowly out of books. And to get into today's talking points, I was going to talk about, and I was reading in my Fingerprints of the Gods books by Graham Hancock, and he was discussing the cosmic mill and the life tree and tree of life. And in that I had already discussed how Norse mythology was used in was an allegory for the procession of the equinox, and he's going into that a little bit more, and he discusses the story of the Odysseus, the Odyssey, which is now going to be turned into a movie, and it's kind of interesting. But the Odyssey has uh, imagery in it that or symbolism of using a mill and using a tree of life at one point in the story of the Odyssey, and that correlates to a lot of other mythologies. For instance, in this little section of the book, the author talks about some Norse mythology where there is also uses of a mill and a tree of life, and this symbolism gets used quite a bit, and this is what this chapter is about. So it's kind of interesting to see, same symbology used throughout different mythologies in history and different points in history and different cultures. And so something was spreading, something was universal on the planet, and that always interests me and this stuff. And in this case, he's talking about how it's creating a cosmic message in the procession of the equinox, and allegories are lining up to them. So, still reading that. That's what I found out today. So that was kind of cool. Uh, in my UFO book, it discusses Edward Condon, and it's going to go into something called the Condon Report, and happened in like the 1960s and 70s. And at the time, the country, a lot of people in the country were worried that the Soviet Union was ahead on the UFO study, and that's what a lot of the people studying the UFOs were a little worried about, because the Soviet Union was kind of silent on the issue, and it seemed like maybe they were studying the issue more. So people thought there was an article in Playboy magazine, and it discussed a UFO gap, and that's something that was an article was taken out in Playboy discussing a UFO gap. It's kind of interesting, like where this information leaks out. A lot of times it's the same thing that goes on the internet today. All this stuff going on about like high technology and dictatorships and psychic dictatorships and brain control and UFOs. Even now, it leaks out in certain sections on the internet. And back in the day, the internet was Playboy. So set up system to investigate new cases. Okay, so after they decided that the Soviet Union might have a gap with the United States, a UFO gap with the United States. And the American government decided that they were going to set up a system to investigate new cases of UFOs. And so that developed into like a little system to investigate UFOs. And yeah, so uh, now here we are today, and it's being presented as like, oh, it's a new phenomena yet again, but it's not a new phenomena. It's an old phenomena, perhaps even thousands of years old. So yeah, you know, all right. I'm gonna get into in the next one in my book on Clanlands by Sam Heughan and Graham McTavish. They discuss a going up on a chairlift to ski in New Zealand. And I was thinking to myself, I've never been on a chairlift because I'm afraid of them. And I was just reminding myself that I'm afraid of chairlifts. And so this is like, like the idea of what do you call it? Thrill seeking. And I guess I'm not much of a thrill seeker. I like to have my feet on the ground. I don't like to jump out of planes and stuff like that. And uh, yeah, uh, my feet like to be on the ground. Even going out in the ocean on a boat is kind of scary to me because my feet are on the ground. But I do like a roller coaster, so I think that's about as much thrill seeking as I'll do as a roller coaster. Uh, yeah. All right. So, anyways, the chairlift scared me. I actually went up on the gondola in Mammoth. I was reminding myself that if you go to Mammoth, you can go up on this huge, cool gondola ride, and it is breathtaking. And at the same time, I'd say it's breathtaking. I was also terrified of being on that thing. It actually went up with my sister, and she was even more terrified than me. And it was driving me crazy because she was going crazy on the gondola or whatever. And so, uh, but I could get on the gondola with my parents. I think they loved it. They were like, "Woohoo!" And I was. It's quite a trip up the mountain if you've never been in California and Mammoth. And let's just get into something with Mammoth. Mammoth should be like a national park or something. It's so beautiful and it's so incredible. And yeah, it's I mean it's particular in particular locations. It's comparable to me to some national park locations. I guess it's not big enough and it's not extensive enough, but I just think Mammoth Lakes are pretty incredible. So uh, I was trying to say it does obviously it's like, national parks is like it's like an esteemed thing, but like uh, you just think about Glacier and you think about Yellowstone and you think about Grand Canyon. I guess if they made Mammoth National Park, people would complain or something. It's not good enough, but it's definitely worth a trip to California to see Mammoth, I think. But okay. All right. So, Cape Cod League in my baseball book, I'm finishing up the Boston section, and there's something called the Cape Cod League that I think I'd heard about, but I'm learning about now, and it's a league for college players to go and play baseball in the winter, I think it is, but maybe the summer. Maybe it's the summer for yeah, probably the summer. It could be the winter. All right, so it's a college baseball league for players around you get invited and you go and you play baseball in a baseball summer league. All right, so this gets into something a little bit into talking about the adrenaline rush or adrenaline junkies and stuff, but this is a little different here. I was thinking, we were talking here actually a little bit ago, and on the right now there is this strong man. Trump is the strong man, and again he's against all these weak leaders, and he uses all these like strongman language and stuff when he talks, and uh, there's a huge thing in this country of men who are obsessed with their manhood, and they gotta be like bombastic men and tough guys and everything, and this is really dysfunctional. Like, men that are obsessed with their manhood are dysfunctional people. We are talking about that here, and it's like there. I was reminded of a guy, a comedian, or a guy that was creating a comedic bit at least online, and he was cutting a cake with a sawzall, and he was doing all these using power tools to do all these normal projects around a house or something. And that's just an example of like a man attaching their humanity to manhood and anything that reflects manhood and everything. And so they would cut a cake with a sawzall, and it was just because he was getting a lot of uh, comments in his posts about he's too effeminate, he's too much of an effeminate man, and everything. And so he was like making a point that like this obsession with manhood, like for instance, like Jesse Waters going after Tim Walls for drinking a shake with a straw, like that's not manly or something, so it's like, but this obsession with manhood is dysfunctional because you're a full human being. You're made up of a man and a woman. They came together, they created you. You happen to be a man, but that doesn't mean you don't have other aspects of your being that are, you should be, you're a whole human being. You're not just like, you're a human being related to a human family with many different kinds of people, and you're not just in man club. Okay, we're not like, the world shouldn't be run by man club. And it's like, that's, it's, I don't know, they got to get over this like little boy behavior. Okay, so I was reminded in my wolf book, it was discussing wolf number 8, which is like the hero of the wolf book. It's all about the rise of wolf 8. And at one point, the wolves were stealing a deer carcass from a bear, and the bear was chasing the wolves, the young wolves, in a particular group of wolves. And Wolf 8 turned around and confronted the bear, and no one saw it except the person watching, like the wolf's family didn't see him confront the bear, and it allowed everybody to, the other wolves, to run off with the carcass or whatever. And the bear was stunned and didn't know what to do, and it was an expression of, came to the author's mind about Dwayne The Rock Johnson, where he said being a hero is doing the right thing even when nobody is looking. And I've seen this before, and I was thinking like, yeah, but like it's getting harder and harder to do the right thing in our society, because I was reminded of when in my youth I used to step in when I saw a fight happen, like two people fighting or whatever. Like I can recall numerous occasions where people were being punched or whatever, and I would step in and try to stop it. And I don't think I would I mean I would, unless I am totally moved to do it. My mind, of the mind that says when you see something like that happen, get the hell away. Because now I think we're living in a totally debased society where people have been programmed to just punch everybody, and to just like, you're not going to be able to appeal to their better. I don't think you're I don't know that we're in a society now where there are better angels with a prominent place on people's shoulders. And so it's like, once they're in that mode, it's like just save yourself, I guess. And I'm no longer the hero. And just getting back to the Dwayne Johnson, I don't think I'm the hero that's going to step in and take a punch for somebody. And I admire people that do that, but it just seems like we're in a totally different space as a society today with guns and all that, and it's kind of crazy, and it's a martialized society. Okay, I gotta stop here because it's been about 15 minutes. So I'm trying to make a little exit of these little videos. So I thank you for watching me today, and good luck to everybody on your good day today, a Thursday.